Good morning. My name is Sue Badeau, and I'm here in Philadelphia. And I wanted to talk with you for a minute or two about what it's like to talk with kids about this coronavirus and all the disruption that's happening in their lives, or the fears that they might be having when school gets canceled, when they're hearing warnings, when even mom and dad aren't going to work as usual. So I want to give you two valid and important and very easy ways to remember how to talk to your children directly, and also how to help your children manage big feelings that they might be having during this time. So the first piece I'd like to share with you comes from an acronym developed by an organization I worked with in Philadelphia called Multiplying Connections. They have a website if you want to learn more, and I do give them credit for this acronym. It's called CAPPD, CAPPD. And I'd like to use that acronym to help you think about how you as an adult can best respond to children throughout this time of crisis. I'm using this acronym because it works for this particular coronavirus situation, but it's also a great one to remember for any other times that you might be having to have a conversation with your child during a time of crisis or even tantrum. So I'll quickly tell you what each of the letters stands for, and then I'll walk through them in regard to this particular situation. C is for calm, A for attuned, P for present, second P for predictable, and D for do not escalate. So let's take those one by one as it relates to the coronavirus situation. C is for calm. Most important thing is that you remain calm, that you talk to your children with a calm demeanor, and that you help them to be calm. Calm does not mean to be artificially calm. You don't want to tell things that are not true. You don't want to make up things. You don't want to be overly reassuring, like everything's going to be fine, when they can clearly see and hear around them that everything's really not quite fine right now. So instead, you want to calmly give accurate information and facts. If you're a person of faith, you want to share where your hope comes from. You want to share science. You want to share actual information in a way that's helpful and useful and developmentally appropriate for your child. So you can tell them things like, yes, there is a sickness going around, and it has this big name, coronavirus. And you can tell them that lots of people are catching it, and that's why we have to be careful not to catch it ourselves or not to let other people get exposed to us if we have some of those germs around us. And one way we can help people to not have germs and ourselves to not have germs is by this extra attention we're going to give to how we wash hands and any other things in your routine that you're going to explain to your child. Now, one thing you especially want to be calm about and aware of, and this takes us a little bit into the attunement part about being attuned, the next letter A, attunement, attuned to how your child might actually be feeling. Are they scared? Are they worried? Are they just excited to have school off and parents home? What's going on with them? And I'm going to give you a second way to think about helping your child with their feelings in a moment. But right here, we just want to talk about tuning in and understanding how your child might be feeling. And one thing is that the news media, and perhaps even notices they've received at school or in other places, have focused on the fact that, oh, this doesn't really affect children. It mostly affects old people, older people, elderly people. Now, from a child's point of view, pretty much any adult is an old person. That subtle distinction about whether you're, over 60 or over 80 and what percentages that puts you in, it means nothing to most children. You're older than them, you're an old person, and so they might have worries that you are going to get sick, or their grandparents are going to get sick, or their school teachers are going to get sick. So again, you want to be calm and attuned as you help them to understand that some people will get sick, and most people who get sick, if they take care of themselves, will get better. But that's why you're all being very careful. You're all being very careful. You don't want to use this as a chance to get into the nitty-gritty distinction between who's old and who's not old, but rather just, again, give them assurance that you understand what's happening, you know the facts, you're learning the facts, and that you're going to use good advice from doctors and scientists to help you stay healthy and keep them healthy. Now, the next letter is P, is about being present. And when you have your own worries, maybe you're missing work and you're not getting a paycheck. Maybe you're worried about the people at your job. Maybe you're a healthcare worker. You have your own worries and your own concerns. It's really hard sometimes to be right there and be present with a child, right? Being present means more than just sharing the same space together. Being present means really showing the child that you're present with them. So, in this time when we're supposed to do social distancing and the media says don't hug, don't snuggle, don't touch as much, use your judgment about that, and again, use precautions of washing and everything. But your children still need some touch, some hugs, but they also need eye contact. They also need you sometimes getting and sitting or being at their level so you can really show them, I'm here with you. And when you can't be here with them, if they're home from school but you still have to work outside the home, when you're making other arrangements for them, it's a good time for more than usual check-ins, whether by phone, whether through another adult, even FaceTiming or something like that. It's a time for more than the usual amount of check-ins so that your child knows you're present, you're here, you're okay, you're on top of it. Now, the next letter, P, stands for being predictable. And children need predictability, they need routine, they need structure. Now, some need it more than others, just in the general sense. But when we're in a crisis like this, they need it more than usual. So, to the extent that you can, with everything that is changing, especially again, their biggest predictability factor, their school day, has changed in most cases, keep as much predictability and routine in your schedule as you can. Still get up and have breakfast at the same time, lunch at the same time, dinner, bedtime. Maybe make a new schedule and post it. I've seen a couple of memes and examples of this by people online. Post a new schedule. Okay, now that we're not in school, here's what we're going to do. Here's when we're going to do it. The more you can keep routine and predictability in their schedule, even as things are not exactly predictable, the more comfort that will bring to your child. And finally, the last letter of CAPT is D, which is do not escalate. So if your child starts to get out of sorts, if they start to kind of act out some of their feelings, I'll say more about that in just one moment, then don't be the one who's going to escalate that and just raise the level of anxiety and fear and therefore behavior in the air. Try to go back to that first C, try to go back to calm and practice being calm yourself. Whether that means some breathing exercises, whether that means just some physical body movement, whether that means inhaling a scent of something that calms you. Just really practice being calm, and then you can co-regulate your child. You can help them to be calm by sort of letting them catch your calmness. Just as the virus is contagious, our attitudes are contagious, and our breathing can be contagious, and our calmness and our care for others and our willingness to use this time out, time off, to maybe check in on an elderly neighbor, bring a bag of groceries to someone who doesn't have it, check in on some of their school friends who maybe have a single parent. These kinds of things that you can do to not escalate, but actually to bring more calm and more caring into the situation will reassure your child that things are probably going to be okay, and that however things go, they've got adults in their lives that are on top of it. Now, just before I wrap us up, I wanted to say one more thing, and this is to help your child manage their big feelings. I want to give you a little phrase to remember that sometimes when children are sad or scared, that can make them mad. That can inside themselves that they don't like being sad or scared, and so it kind of makes them mad. And when you're mad, you might act bad. So when you see behavior from your children that's out of the norm, out of sync, that's a little more unruly than usual, try to dig below that. Try to tune in and recognize that maybe they're sad or scared, and maybe this is a good time to say, are you sad about not having school to go to? Are you sad about not seeing your friends? Are you scared that someone you love is going to get sick? Are those feelings, those big feelings that you can't control, is that making you a little bit mad? I see that's what's happening here, and it's not okay to break things or to, you know, stomp around when you have those feelings, but the feelings are okay. So let's figure out how we can talk about them, how we can draw, do some artwork, how we can listen to some music, use our body, maybe do some exercise, take a walk in nature, um, do some yoga, something that'll help kind of bring those feelings out in ways that are healthy, that are safe, and that are okay. I've written a lot of this stuff in a couple of books, and I have a website, and you're welcome to check in with me more if you want more of this information. Again, my name is Sue Badeau, and my website is easy. It's suebadeau.com, and I hope this has been helpful to you, and I would love to hear from you. Thank you.